Freedom, man. That's what it's all about. You've got to groove on freedom, like the good book says.
Welcome. You are listening to What on Earth is Happening. This show will discuss the topics of human consciousness, mind control, natural law, the occult, and all issues that affect the freedom of the people of Earth. What on Earth is Happening will endeavor to shine light upon the darkness of our world and to offer empowering solutions to the problems we face as humanity approaches its critical moment of choice. And now, here is your host, Mark Passio.
Welcome one and all. You're watching What on Earth is Happening. I'm your host, Mark Passio. My website, whatonearthishappening.com. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery. And here on What on Earth is Happening, we are ending slavery one mind at a time. Welcome and thank you for tuning in, everyone. Today is Sunday, May 15th, 2022. This is episode number 254 of What on Earth is Happening. And we have an all call-in show lined up for today. You are going to make the content of the show. Today's show topic is the Occult Philosophy of Thelema call-in show. Last week I felt I didn't really get to enough callers for a very, very important topic. And we only really got to a few callers. And so I thought I really want to give the topic the treatment that it deserves and take more calls on this subject because it's a very misunderstood subject. I feel like I covered it pretty well and to the depth that I wanted to regarding the philosophy of this occult tradition. And it's something that I think we're going to be rounding out this season of What on Earth is Happening doing is studying and fleshing out a few different occult traditions. Again, as I said, coming up on the show, we will have shows on theosophy. We will have shows on Rosicrucianism. I think these are the two important occult traditions and philosophies that we really have yet to cover in depth on What on Earth is Happening. I've covered them a little bit in presentations, specifically Demystifying the Occult Part 1, in which I covered all of these occult traditions briefly as part of a wider overarching seminar on occult philosophy, but have not really treated those occult traditions to the extent that I want to here on the show. So that will be coming up in probably a few weeks. Only, I guess 6 weeks left in the season. So we have to do a couple of shows on those occult traditions. We have to do a couple of shows on psyops. I mean, they're running psyops continually, obviously. Everybody gets all, in a tizzy about running false flag events, and I'm watching false flag events like, and this is their standard MO. This is the standard modus operandi of the occult. No one should be shocked or amazed by it at this point if you're paying attention and you understand how these sick satanic occultists operate in our world. So psyops is something I think we have to treat as a topic and maybe get into individual psyops a little bit, some of the biggest psyops in the world. So those are upcoming shows to round out this season of What on Earth is Happening before we get into the How to Become the True Media seminar this year. I'm going to jump over to my slides now and go through a few housekeeping announcements, and then we'll go to your calls on the Discord platform in just a few minutes. Here's the artwork for today's show, The Occult Philosophy of Thelema call-in show. Thank you to Will Keller for all the artwork he's been doing for this season of What on Earth is Happening. Of course, we're on a streamlined format with me producing in chair here at the What on Earth is Happening headquarters in my bedroom. We're on a 6-month on, 6-month off schedule for the live streaming show, January through June. After which, in July, I will be teaching the How to Become the True Media seminar for the rest of the year. How to Become the True Media is racing toward us. We still have a few seats in the seminar, so I encourage people, do not wait. I'm going to cut it off when we hit the amount that I want to reach, and we are about 80% there, I'm going to say, approximately. So, if we hit the number before my projected cutoff date of July 4th, I will be closing enrollment early. Just be aware of that. How to Become the True Media is an online technology skill sharing seminar. 23 weeks of tech skill set sharing hosted by myself on the Telegram platform every Monday evening this year. 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. is the official class instruction, after which we'll break up for informal discussion. From Monday, July 11th, the first class, to the last class on Monday, December 12th, 2022, for a total of 23 class sessions. There is limited seminar space. Enrollment will close on July 4th. That's internet enrollment. If you mail in your enrollment, if you send your enrollment via check or money order, you will have to get it to me by July 1st, 2022. How to Become the True Media teaches beginner and intermediate technical skill sets. Everything from operating skills, how to manage your files, to outlining your thoughts and organization, to making slides and presentations, to doing audio and video work and podcasts and video podcasts, and video editing, up through building your own website and hosting your website. So, for more information on the technological skill sets that are going to be taught as part of this great seminar this year, visit the website howtobecomthetruemedia.com. That's howtobecomthetruemedia.com. And you could click the enrollment button to go to gifts.whatonearthishappening, where you can actually enroll in the seminar. We accept all the methods that I accept for any of my donation gifts items for enrollment in the seminar, plus enrollment via mail-in, via check or money order. So again, for more information on this seminar that is coming at us very quickly, howtobecomthetruemedia.com. Visit onegreatworknetwork.com to see all of the great content creators that are curated as part of this online conglomeration and network of individuals who are teaching the one great work, who are teaching about natural law and occult philosophy and the occult machinations of our world that comprise the whole control system. 60 phenomenal content creators up on this network. We're going to be adding more shortly. You could support them all individually, and you could support the network as a whole. The website, once again, onegreatworknetwork.com. Check it out. I think you'll love the content that all of the great content creators are providing daily on this platform. The What on Earth is Happening IPFS project is still ongoing. If you want to participate, you do need an internet connection of 200 megabits per second in the upstream direction, the upload direction, if you're going to be hosting what is known as a node, which is a server on the IPFS network. IPFS is a distributed, encrypted internet protocol. It stands for Interplanetary File System, and it is a way of distributing media on the internet to many different devices so that it becomes completely uncensorable. So if you're interested in helping What on Earth is Happening, the information that I've hosted here from day one, become completely uncensorable, visit to get the PDF document with the preliminary instructions and requirements, whatonearthishappening.com/IPFS. Once again, the website for that, whatonearthishappening.com/IPFS. I know some people have inquired about it. I will be getting back to you this week. These past few weeks have been exceedingly busy for me with personal matters. Again, I'm actually in a battle to keep the home that I'm in right now. That is sort of coming to a head, and I'm involved in much other work on a personal level that has been preventing me from doing the amount of work that I would like to be doing with What on Earth is Happening. It has kind of had to very temporarily take the back burner for the time being, but make no mistake and rest assured, I will be getting to your inquiries about the IPFS project. Just hold tight, and I will be getting to you when I have some free time. That being said, I will be taking part in 2 great upcoming online conferences this fall. Both of them are online events, not in-person events, but they are absolutely top quality, top-notch events that I know the organizers are going to do a very good job. I know the organizers are very knowledgeable in and of themselves, and there's going to be some fantastic speakers as part of these online conferences. So the first one is Freedom Under Natural Law 2, the second Freedom Under Natural Law Conference, coming up on September 10th and 11th, the anniversary of the September 11th 9/11 event. So that is quite interesting. Maybe I will do something in my presentation regarding 9/11. I did an extensive amount about that in both my original What on Earth is Happening presentation and here in the early days of the What on Earth is Happening podcast. But perhaps I'll maybe revisit that topic. We'll see. I have many topics that I want to flesh out in presentations, so I'll have to choose between a few. But the second Freedom Under Natural Law conference is called Convergence, Unity, Focus, and Action, being stressed as part of this conference. For more information on this upcoming event and the speakers who will be participating in it, visit the website freedomundernaturallaw.com. freedomundernaturallaw.com. The second online conference I'll be participating in this fall is Shattering the Illusion. This is the inaugural, the first one of its kind. This will be taking place on September 24th, 2022. A one-day online event about natural law, true anarchy, consciousness, mind control, and the occult. Great speakers, many of the speakers, most of them, as a matter of fact, already content creators on the One Great Work Network platform. So it's going to be really a who's who of speakers on these topics. So check out the Shattering the Illusion conference coming up this September 24th at shatteringtheillusion.info to learn more about this great upcoming online conference. Today will be an all call-in show on the Discord platform. If you want to call into the show, our call-in room is hosted via Discord. You can go into whatonearthishappening.com/Discord, where you will be redirected directly to our Discord server. Or if you are already watching this show on the show page of What on Earth is Happening, you can click on the Discord widget on that page, and that will connect you into the Discord call-in room on the What on Earth is Happening Discord server. So go into the room now. I'll be entering it and going to your calls in just a few moments. Please do use your real full name in the Discord server, because I'm not going to call on you if you're using an internet handle. I think it gets silly. I think people should just show some courage and just use their name on the server. If you're, too hesitant or, fearful or want to play secret agent man or secret agent woman, it's this isn't the show to call into. I respect people's privacy. I'll call on you by first name, but I just am tired of using ridiculous internet handles to call on people on the show, so I won't be calling on you if you name yourself that in my Discord room. Just letting you know. And the other thing I just want to let people know is please use a headset, like a USB headset, or at least earbuds connected to your computer for audio output, because if you don't, you get echo, you get delay, you get possible feedback coming in as my voice enters your mic and goes through your speaker system and comes back out again. Like, it's just a recipe for an audio disaster. So if I hear a lot of that going on, I may disconnect your call. I just want to let you know. It's just really just kind of proper protocol. If you're calling into a show, use headphones. It's very simple. So just asking for that as well. Those are really my only two basic rules for the Discord call-in room. So we'll be getting to your calls in just a moment. As part of my last three basic announcements, I always go through the ARC and methods of making a donation to What on Earth is Happening. So the ARC 2.0 drive is still available. I want to emphasize this is not for sale. This is a free offer at whatonearthishappening.com/ARC. This is a hard drive that I fill up for you with all of the research material that I have collected from the internet over the years since I've been doing research online. The ARC 2.0 drive consists of over 26,000 audio files, 9,500 books, and 3,400 videos from my own personal archive of research and data gathered over the years. And I copy it onto the 2 terabyte drive storage device that you send me. It can be a hard drive or it can be a solid state drive. I highly recommend using a solid state drive for the ARC offer. I get more and more of them daily as opposed to hard drives. I think this is a great trend. I think it's technologically sound. I think your drive has a better chance of having zero problems with it if it's a solid state drive. So I highly encourage that. If you can't afford the solid state drive, no problem. You could send a traditional hard drive and I will use that for the ARC. But I do recommend a solid state drive. There are rigid shipping instructions for the ARC offer that is in place to protect your property that you send to me and then I send back to you. So please do follow the shipping instructions, take them seriously, and your drive will make a round trip just fine. For more information and to get the shipping instructions for the ARC, visit whatonearthishappening.com/ARC. Once again, whatonearthishappening.com/ARC for the ARC Drive 2.0 offer. If you want to get hard copies of any of my presentations on flash drive or DVD, or perhaps all of my work that I've ever put out on one solid state drive called the One Great Work Collection, or promotional items like t-shirts, stickers, buttons, keychains, coasters, etc. You can make a donation to the What on Earth is Happening cause and receive a gift of your choosing at gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. This is called What on Earth is Happening Donation Gifts. Gifts in return for a donation toward the What on Earth is Happening cause. Gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. Check it out. I'm sure you'll like the items that you see there, and it helps support What on Earth is Happening and helps us to continue our efforts. Or if you prefer to make a straight donation to support What on Earth is Happening and the One Great Work Network, you can visit whatonearthishappening.com/donate. 9 cryptocurrencies that we accept for donations: Cash App, GPay, Wise, personal check or money order, or you could even donate technological supplies from our Amazon wish list. Thank you to everyone who has donated over the years. You know who you are, and it is very, very heartfelt and appreciated the donations that you have made to support our efforts here. Once again, the website for straight donation, whatonearthishappening.com/donate. That's all the housekeeping announcements that I have for today, folks. Let's prepare to go to your calls. Once again, I would like to take calls and hear your thoughts and take your questions for clarification or any type of an extension on the last 3 weeks of the topic of the occult philosophy of Thelema on the show today. That's what I would like to take your calls on. I'm not going to say I'm going to outright ban calls on any other topics, or, if you just want to call in to talk about, another topic, or just to talk about the work that I do here, the one great work in general. But I'm just floating it out there that I personally want to take calls on Thelema today and make this a true discussion about this occult philosophy, because I know it's still not fully understood. I know the job that I did in explaining the philosophy went pretty well, but I'm sure people have questions. I'm sure you have things that you want clarified, or other things that you want to talk about regarding the philosophy that we could add as an addendum to the last 3 weeks. I think this topic is that important, that it really should be fleshed out further. And I want to hear your thoughts on this occult philosophy in general, and what you think about it, and what you think of the information that I covered over the last 3 weeks, and take your questions on it. That's what this call-in show is ultimately all about. So I'd like to ask that people do get into the topic and prepare some general thoughts and questions about it, as opposed to just making it a general call-in show. So I just wanted to put that out there. Let me get set up with my headset to go on to Discord, and then we'll take your calls. Okay. All right. All right, let's see who's in the call-in room. All right, let's hear from Corey. Corey, you're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome to the show. What do you have for us today?
Hi there, Mark. Can you hear me?
All right, Corey, I am not hearing you. Give me a moment. Say something again.
Hi there.
You're coming through, but once again, I'm not hearing you. Give me a moment to correct this. Unfortunately, this issue seems to keep happening on this headset. So give me 1 second to correct it. I apologize for this, folks. This has been an ongoing issue for some reason, but I believe I know the issue. Corey, say something else. Yes, I can. It comes through. For some reason, I don't know why, the routing software that I have every few weeks stops recognizing this headset, and I have to re-add it. It's just the nature of buggy software these days. But I got to deal with the problem, as many other people who understand some of the drawbacks in the technology world, and have to deal with them and just power through it as part of our work. I'm sure all content creators out there know what I'm talking about. And this is some of the things that we'll talk about in the How to Become the True Media seminar, how to power through potential problems like that. And you just keep a cool head. You go through a logical, stepwise troubleshooting process, and you'll come out the other end fine if you keep a cool head about it. Sometimes that can be difficult, and sometimes I get flustered myself. But, I usually just take it slow, bear through it, find the issue, and correct it, and then we're fine. So thanks for bearing with me there, and go ahead with your questions or comments.
That's totally all right here. So I'm Corey. I actually am part of the consortium over at alternatecurrentradio.com. Okay. Not sure if you're familiar with us or our work. But,
I am not. Give the website anyway, one more time.
It's alternatecurrentradio.com.
Alternate Current Radio? Okay.
Yep.
Cool. I'll check
correct.
it out. I'm not familiar with it. I'm always looking for new online truth-related information sources, especially in the realm of internet radio and internet video. So I will definitely check that out.
Well, Mark, please do, because, I think we're bringing a different flavor to the conversation that is very important and related to some of the topics that you've been hitting on recently. And one angle that I look at things from, or have recently, because I've been doing a lot of research into the gentleman Alan Moore and his work. You're familiar
Yes,
with
he
that,
created
right?
the
Like
Watchmen. Yes,
in the comics world. Yeah, so he'll do something like he'll mention Crowley, and people have such a negative slant with these figures that they have difficulty extracting the potent realities of the truths that have been spoken by these figures, and they want to instead throw it all into this category that information itself, philosophy itself, is evil only because it is espoused by somebody who has done wrong, or, as you've explicated in the course of your talk on Thelema, has taken the wrong path. And anyway, I brought up Alan Moore because recently I just put together, as an editor myself, I do video compilations and, try to bring to life some of the things that we talk about in alt media, because I think oftentimes what's missing is the heart-based, visceral component that really can help to enliven people's imaginations. And so recently I just did a clip that was a talk by Alan Moore on magic and its relation to art, and how this, the process of, transmuting what is within, that alchemical process, can really have a transformative effect upon consciousness itself, which is what boosts us towards that next level from which we can see things at a meta perspective. And this is related to Thelema in the sense that it's about aligning ourselves with, as you say, the true will, the will of creation, and it is about tapping into the nature within us, which is what can allow us to break free from a lot of the propaganda, the falsities, these illusions. And it's a matter of persistence, because if we allow ourselves to be captivated by this material world, we're not going to keep steady on that path, and we're not going to see the fruits from the gift of our labor and what we put into the task of trying to bring our imagination through that process of magic, if you will, to those around us. So that is engaging in the artistic realm. Do you see any
Corey,
of what I'm saying?
that is a phenomenal explanation. I'm highly impressed by how you worded that and expressed it. That's going to make me definitely want to check out your network all the more, especially if these are the types of topics that are being discussed. This is exactly what needs to be discussed. It's the exact mind frame that these types of topics need to be approached from, not the mind frame of fear and, oh, the media told me this about it, or my church said this about this guy. It's actually delving into the philosophy that is discussed. Yes, we should look at the actions of the individual and make that absolutely aware unto us, because we don't want to emulate bad behavior. That's a given, right? But to throw out the baby with the bathwater, to throw out deep core psychological philosophy that can actually help us get in touch with the forces that we need to get in touch with to truly awaken ourselves and take real world action in the world and get aligned with the will of creation truly. That is one of the most important things that we need to learn how to do as individuals, as unique individuals in the world, going about it in our own unique way. And the creative process, as you said, is exactly what opens up that avenue. It's exactly what opens up that doorway. And this is the commonality I've seen in all my years of looking at people's work in the whole sphere of the truth-telling community, of the people who I feel have truly, really awakened to natural law, is they themselves are creators with a small, not being God, but they are creators in our worldly experience through music, through art, through literature. They are not simply passive absorbers of information and content. They create something that is uniquely their own through the process of creativity. As you said, art in general, music. These are the commonalities that I see constantly. And that's not to say bad guys can't be into music and art, but I feel like, the people who have really awoken themselves and aligned themselves with the true will, almost universally, there is that commonality of individual creativity in their personal makeup as an individual, in their personality. And that's something that's so important, that I find that people have a more difficult time really truly coming online if they are not a creative and artistic individual. It's something that I see as a main factor in some way in people's awakening. I can't quite explain it. I think it's like being that small C creator, through art, literature, music, etc., helps give us that connection. It helps us to connect to the large C creator, the creator of the universe, and helps open up a channel for communication between ourselves as individual consciousness and the will of the higher consciousness of creation. So I think that's absolutely a spot-on observation, analysis, and explanation that you gave, and I totally concur. I totally see it in my life and in discussions with individuals who I consider are truly awakened. So I want to thank you for bringing up that whole point, and if you want to add on to it, go right ahead. You've definitely intrigued me into wanting to look at the content that you're talking about on your own network, so I'll definitely check into that.
Yeah. Absolutely, please do. Our YouTube is Alternate Current Radio. You can check that out, or you can check out my personal work at BitChute. Mainly is where I post my music videos and personal edits that I do. So that is under the title West Lexicon, one word. You can find that again on BitChute. And then I also have a podcast called Soul Purpose, SOUL. But it's also my singular purpose,
Sure.
right, in life. That's the attempt to align with that higher will that you're talking about. And, I think that through this process of being creative and engaging our creative efforts, it allows us to retain a certain degree of mental flexibility, which this system is trying to stamp out of all
That's
of
right.
us. And so that does allow you, through that participation in your own soul essence, if you will, to continue to be dynamic in this situation, which is necessary, really. That's the only way that we're going to be continuing to be free and to bring forth, what is within us that's going to actually change the terrain. And it is about these modes of thinking that people are trapped in, even people who are, and you've explicated on this before, even people who are in and part of the freedom-oriented mindset, a lot of them still have that basic rigidity that they've dragged through from their past programming, and they're bringing it into this, and it's because they have not engaged long enough in this effort to bring forth what is within them. And so in that sense, the reality of that is that at bottom, that actually means that person is not a fully formed being. And this is a huge issue. This is a maturity issue. This is an individuation issue. And it's all over the place. And that's why a lot of people can't really see the difference between what is a truly good person and who is the evil person. They're unable to see that a lot of it has to do with, you might have a degree to which you see things based on appearance, but it's really about the interior life of each person.
That's right.
And how fully formed their soul and conscience are. That's going to be the indicator of if that person has a good character or can go far in aiding this effort that we all need to be engaged in. So, this is about growing up. That's how I've been seeing it recently. This is about growing up. We all have to grow up. We have to realize how many hooks are in us.
That's right.
And we need to go in and fully individuate our consciousness and become the best version of ourselves that we can be, and carry that torch just that much further. And that's what I appreciate about your work and what you've been doing. And, I absolutely think that if those of us who are truly conscious and see the purpose and the importance of what we're doing, if we form up and we cooperate, we can bring a world into fruition that is much better than the dark new world order, which we all want to avoid. And that was in part why I brought up Alan Moore, because something that you touched on, which I think a lot of people need to recognize more fully in their consciousness, is that there are people who are occultists, yes, but that is not a bad thing sometimes. There can be those who are the occultists of the light, and that is about recognizing these philosophies which have been hidden from view, and they want to make you feel like it's all bad and don't go there, don't look into this, because it's all just to dissuade. But that's why we got to move past that, recognize, use these tools to our advantage, and become that much better in
That's
our
right,
endeavors.
Corey. Absolutely brilliant call. I want to thank you very much for all those points you brought up. I want to add a slight addendum to it, but I will definitely be checking out your radio network, especially if those are some of the types of topics that are discussed on it. I would love to explore it more. We need more content creators like yourself out there. Contact me about coming onto the One Great Work Network. If you have the time and the inclination to do so, hit me up on Discord and we can get you onboarded onto our network as well if it's something that you're interested in. And I want to just say the topics that you addressed, namely having to get out of that unidimensional type thinking that often the prior programming sets you in, and then people coming into this movement come in with that programming and never really detach from it. They never detangle those chains that are holding them back from a full understanding. And as you worded it quite correctly, a true individuation. See, this is what is meant in the Thelemic philosophy as by the Aeon of Horus. The Aeon of Horus, or the Age of Horus, is about coming into true individual identity, meaning that you're no longer identifying with groups. You're no longer identifying with, big hive minds, right? That's all hallmarks of the Age of Osiris, the Aeon of Osiris, okay? And we are evolving past that as a species. At least many of us are. And that is what, again, needs to be the goal of the people coming out of the former deep programming that they've been under. They need to realize you can't think on these topics as the hive mind wants you to think on these topics. That is unidimensional hive mind thinking. That's not individuated thinking. The individual, the true individual, does not accept any premise that is first given to them, nor does that individual reject a premise that is first proposed to them. It looks at it totally indifferently and says, I'm going to investigate that. So again, let's just use the network that you're on for an example briefly, right? I'm not accepting it as something that is absolutely great content. I'm not rejecting it and saying it's going to be terrible content. I'm saying I'm going to look into it. Now, you've given me some information regarding what you know as a content creator on that network, and I'm impressed by that. So that's going to begin my process of discovery and say, okay, well, this is a part of it. Let's look at the totality of it. What do I need to do now on my own is I need to make a full investigation of it by listening for a while, okay? And then I will see what type of content is on the network. People always want little sound bites, right? This is part of what actually Thelema gets you out of the practice of hinging on and saying, oh, just give me the 30-second explanation. You're never going to get the 30-second explanation out of the Thelemic writings. The Thelemic writings are there to get you hooked into them, very similar to the Kabbalistic tradition and the Freemasonic tradition. They're there giving you things that force your mind to go further and look deeper and make connections between things, to think in an associative way between things and ideas. It's very deliberately constructed to do that. It's not accidental. It's a very deliberate procedure. It's a very deliberate method to get people to stay engaged, to develop a longer attention span, to develop more persistence, to not understand at first, almost deliberately, to make it a little bit confusing and a little bit challenging, but always to make it somewhat simplistic enough, or at least engaging enough that the person says, you know what? I think I can understand this, but I need to press a little bit further. I need to dig a little bit deeper. I need to keep going, right? So what is it developing? What does the tradition develop if you keep exploring it further and deeper? It unlocks things in the mind. It unlocks pathways in the mind. It unlocks correlative thinking, which, again, I've said is one of the most important things in studying any occult philosophy. It begins to help us perceive allegory in any creative allegories that may be told to us, or we happen to come to our attention, to our consciousness. It helps us to understand the language of symbol. It helps us to perceive mathematics and number all around us, and not to go overboard into illusory engagements with that and into illusory associations, but to truly see what is there for real. And that, I think, is one of the goals of Thelema. It's one of the purposes of it. It's why it's constructed the way that it is in the original writings. And so I just want to say once again, thank you, Corey, for that call. Brilliant stuff. I'll definitely check out your network. And if you want to get in touch with me on Discord, hit me up on there, and we'll see about onboarding you onto the One Great Work Network as well. Because if you understand the occult philosophies at that level, that's the kind of engagement that we want on One Great Work Network as well. So, great call. One of the things I'm seeing here, folks, before we go to the next caller, is I'm seeing people always engage and call into this show who are active creators themselves, and that was not the case years ago. So that makes me feel like there is some type of a shift or change occurring, because there's tons of people out there who are actively engaged, and that's what I love to see. So let's go on to some more callers. Let's hear from Anita. Anita, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just I'm here by accident. Not really. I love your show, Mark, and I really am into it. The only thing is, I'm new to Discord. I wasn't really sure how to do this. Do you just have a channel, or is it just for
this is just for the call-in. If you want to listen, just to listen, I would recommend whatonearthishappening.com and click the show tab. And that will take you to a place where you can simply watch without being in the call-in room. So I appreciate that, Anita. Thank you. And I'll let you just continue to listen. And, I appreciate you, being part of the show and listening in today. So thank you. You got it. All right, let's go to Dan. Dan, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hello,
Hey.
Mark.
Yes, I
you
can.
Hear me? Great, because a few weeks ago the mic crapped out, and I thank you for your words at the time, which were, whenever technology starts to fail us, keep a calm mind and push through it, because that is a challenge that I always face. I always get angry with that.
I deal with that type of
was-
frustration every day, Dan. So
Yeah.
it's something that you just get used to dealing with, and just try, like as we both said, just try to power through it as best you can.
So yeah, thank you. It really helped, and amongst many other things, I could thank you for. I've been listening to you for many years. I'm based out in the Czech Republic. I could say escaped America about 20 years ago, and I'm happy to be here, where people, I think, are a little less, let's say, fluoridated.
Right.
And to the topic of Thelema, it was of all the many things you talk about, this was a great a great 3-part series, because I've been assisting in, I would boldly say, the best therapy center here in the Czech Republic, and one of the best in Europe, where the main woman, she works not only with the tarot, but many other things, and we study the tarot very, very closely. And it was wonderful to get educated even further in this, thanks to you. I really appreciate that you went to the trouble of explaining to people the difference between Crowley and the teachings, and it's so easy for people to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So this was great to hear, and we really enjoy Crowley's tarot out of all the other tarots that are out there, Rider White, et cetera, and luckily, for some kind of automatic reason, under the guidance of our the main lady there, Petra Alferova, she automatically goes for the information, and we don't worry about Crowley's transgressions. What I would recommend to anybody who's into Crowley's tarot is the books based on Crowley's tarot, written down by Gerd Ziegler. It's from the early 90s, and he maps out the cards in one of the best ways.
Is this the book called Understanding the Thoth Tarot? Or is it something different? I was actually reading that book last night.
No. He has 3 different ones. Well, he has more ones, but the 3 best ones are the Mirror of Our Soul, Mirror of Relationships, and the Mirror of Our, let's say, Purpose. They're kind of hard to get, but Gerd Ziegler, he was very inspired, and he took the teachings and really pulled the light out of them. And these books are, amazing. I always tell people, if this was your Bible, if you didn't even believe in the cards and you just read one of these pages, one of these cards, and lived it a week, in 2 years, your life is completely different. So Gerd Ziegler.
Can you spell his name for me? I'm going to actually probably look this up on the air in LibGen and see if I could download his books. Give me the spelling.
Okay. So Gerd, Gerd, last name Ziegler, Ziegler.
Yeah, nothing on LibGen. Amazing. So they probably are pretty rare.
They are rare. We actually went to the trouble of buying out all the leftover copies here in the Czech Republic.
Is it English language or is it foreign language?
The ones here in the Czech Republic, we got the Czech translations, but these were translated to English as well. These books do exist. I got them on Amazon back in the day, maybe 5 years ago. You could still get them. Maybe you could get them on eBay, but the green book is the one.
I just found Mirror of the Soul and downloaded it in PDF.
Okay, all right. That should be the black one. That one's.
What are the other ones called? Give me the titles of the books.
The mirror of relationships, and then this one I have it here in the original German, and Czech. So
soul, relationships, and what was the third?
And our it's like the Mirror of Our purpose or like service, something like this. Určení. I'm trying to. It's a tricky word to translate, but I'll look it up while we talk here. So this guy Garrett, he did a great job of just taking and, let's say, filtering out and really processing the light of all the
I just found them all on LibGen. It was just the I and E were backwards. It's ZIEGLER. So yeah, they're all on here. It looks like.
Okay, good. So you found it. Yeah, so check that one out. It's my most favorite out of like all the tarot books and even Crowley books, and it works wonders when I work with people. So that I can definitely recommend. While we're at it, I wanted to thank you for also, explaining very well this, big capital W will versus the will of, just the egotistical will, let's say. And also, telling, supporting and letting us all know that, hey, you can serve the big will at the same time while pursuing your own things on the side, maybe incorporate your talents into the big service. That was another great point that you made. And also just briefly, I wanted to, I didn't get a chance to get on air after the Fake Ass Anarchist Revisited series, and I really loved the upgrade of how you did it, because I saw the Fake Ass Anarchist before what you had, and then just going even deeper was very enriching, and was great to go through it again and go even deeper. The whole the going through the Egyptian pyramid model of the chambers. Just all really brilliant. I had better, points, but that's 4 weeks ago. So, but I just wanted to really thank you for that. That was a really, really excellent series.
I got a lot of good feedback regarding the allegorical tradition of the pyramid, perceiving it like that. Again, that is not my work. I have read that from a few different esoteric authors and kind of put that all together from that. But that's been out there for probably decades, if not over a century, perceiving the pyramid as an allegorical system like that. But not many people have encountered that. They haven't seen it. And, I'd like to just try to repopularize that as an allegory, certainly not taking credit for it. But I'd like to repopularize it and get people to, ponder it as such. I think it's powerfully transformative when you see it that way.
It is, and even just seeing it visually, I think for people that can comprehend to some extent, I think it can kind of get people's butts into gear to actually start really working on this and focusing on getting their own shit together, so they have that vibration to create and affect positively their surroundings. And another thing, just the way you amazingly prepare all the slides. I always tell people, you got to check out Mark Passio, because the way he presents it, it's like the closest thing to downloading a matrix file. The way you present it, because I'm an educator. I teach also English and foreign language here in the Czech Republic. So as an educator, I really appreciate how well organized.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And that means a lot, because I do work hard on doing that, and I'm glad that people are seeing the work that goes into that and appreciating it. So thank you.
And maybe as a biggest thank you to you, because you always say don't come up and thank me. The biggest thanks is go out and do something. So after hearing you say this for years, I realized, okay, I got to take knowledge into wisdom. And a few years ago, I took all the training that I had over the years in the therapy center, and I have created an educational system that was a live show, but thanks to the lockdowns, I made it online in Czech, but then also English to reach a greater greater audience. And why I created it was when trying to, because I found a bottleneck when trying to teach people the natural law and get them into natural law. And that is that, as you always say, and I had a hard time coming to grips with this at first, because when you said people are not necessarily good, they are not necessarily bad, but people are programmable. And I was like, so I had to mull that one over for a few months. And I have to agree, people are programmable. And the bottleneck I found is you might have some good software, but people are running bad hardware. And by that I mean they don't have the high enough running brain function to even start comprehending these, very complex and oftentimes, seemingly contradicting, concepts.
That's why getting the body in order is so important. Eating right, eliminating toxins, supplementing, juicing, blending, etc. Nutrition is such an important component of actually being able to repair and heal the mind. As the body goes, the mind follows, and as the mind goes, the body follows, etc. They're totally connected with each other. So it's so important to really deeply understand the mind's connection to nutrition, and to get on a good nutritional program, because literally that is part of the software that's going to affect the hardware. You have a virus constantly running in the system, right? Eventually the hardware is going to break down because it's doing things that the system isn't designed to do continually. It's something that is not natural to the system. And so as we have a body computer, as you're saying, the hardware, right? If it's affected by viral agents on an ongoing basis, and I don't mean, quote, viruses as people traditionally see viruses. I'm talking about things that get in and screw up the system, toxins, okay, poisons, things that don't belong in the body, that the body then has to work overtime to process, to refine out of the body, okay? We're talking about, things that are put in there by the big agri in industry, the petrochemical industry, etc., to clean up and refine the vessel for consciousness is going to help elevate consciousness itself. It's going to get the equipment, the hardware, as you said, running on running in an optimum way. So this is something that we constantly have to revisit and go back to, and emphasize that eliminating toxins and putting good high-level nutrients in the body is always going to help with thought processes. It's always going to help with understanding. It's going to help with actually aligning behavior, because when the brain and the mind function properly, then understanding is going to be able to come in. And again, it's important to get off of pharmaceutical cartel drugs and mind-altering substances that come out of the pharmaceutical industry, like SSRIs, SNRIs, other drugs that totally change the makeup of the mind. All of that is going to affect understanding and eventually behavior. So thanks for reiterating that point. People have to really deeply understand how connected, the functionality of the mind is to understanding this, and how deeply connected that is to true nutrition and the cleansing of the body. So thank you for that. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, I mean, amen to that. Nutrition, I've been taking some Shilajit recently, and, everything that can help the brain work better, turmeric, curcuma, all these things. And I would like to share with you and, all the amazing listeners of what on earth is happening, what my 20 years of over 600 cases has brought me to the conclusion of, and gives me sort of superhero powers, and that is that the one oftentimes forgotten, let's say, ingredient or powerful method of helping brain function which also allows, consciousness to, start embodying the body even more, is through connection between humans, and not just connection, quality connection, and that is compassion. Now, it sounds kind of hippy-dippy. You, of course, as a lover of etymology, know that that calm means together, and passion is not only that which he kissed her passionately, and he plays guitar, and that's his passion, but also passion is suffering. So these two opposite ends of the range of intense feelings boil down to the definition of intense feelings which you can barely hold in. Kind of roughly the definition. But so sharing of intense emotions, but within passion is also the word past, as in to go through. So whenever you see the word compassion in all these memes, and everybody talks about compassion, but not a single person can define what does compassion mean. Much like what is a right, when you go out on the street and ask people what is a right.
It's truly sharing of the depths of one's soul. That's really what compassion is. It's seeing that in others, but it's not necessarily what people have traditionally considered being compassionate. By giving people information and helping put them onto the truth, and helping to get them out of the mind control process, helping to get them out of the forms of mental viruses that are putting them onto the wrong path in life and creating self-inflicted suffering for themselves, I think is one of the highest forms of compassion that we could ever display to our fellow human beings.
Definitely, that's exactly it. And as you said, education is part of it. And so when I in the course I talk about, it's called the art of compassing. I made a verb out of it, to compass, to pass through these intense emotions, which means to educate the young beings. If you do it, if you raise your kids right, when that little body is starting to, the human is the light is being manifested into a human being, and starts having these impulses of joy and fear. And when we spend the time to help, that new being pass through those emotions, and to, I always say, anchor those impulses of vibrational consciousness, which is, trying to, function here in the 3D reality. So when we do that, there is proper brain growth. Dr. Gabor Mate speaks about this amazingly, how disconnection in all mammals, lack of connection, creates turns off dopamine production. And during the first years of brain development, if there is lack of connection and dopamine isn't being stimulated, that circuit becomes develops very weakly. That means our brains in the later years don't function correctly. We search for dopamine in external ways, etc.
It's amazing how much. It's amazing how much human connection is, associated with proper brain and emotional development. Intellectual development, emotional development, it's assisted from human connection. This is proven in just about every form of biological science, neuroscience that exists. And, people have to really understand that. What makes a person truly want to learn, want to improve themselves, versus a person that doesn't want to improve themselves, that has more feelings of self-loathing, that goes into addictive tendencies, as you said. We're understanding that more and more, even from a biophysical perspective, from a biochemical perspective. But this is about interactions between human beings. And again, that's what, if we look at this from a perspective of Thelema, that's what is being talked about by agape form of love. This is what is the higher form of love. That if you're going to form a true bond, a true connection. As I said really during the first two What on Earth is Happening video podcasts, and then reiterated that in a former one, not sure the number. The true connection between individuals is not just between the physical beings. It's a connection that is forged in the higher mental, emotional, and spiritual plane. It's a connection that is based in source, that is based in truth, that is based in higher love, that is law. You know, that's what they're talking about in Thelema, that love is the law, right? That higher form of love is the law of creation. That's the law of the universe. That's the law of freedom. You know, if we're connected in that, that's the deepest bond that there is. That's the deepest form of connection that there is. You know, we get tied up in the lower level bonding, right? The bonding just between people, right? And again, this agape bond is a stronger bond than that. That's not to dismiss that lower level personal bond, but this one is a transpersonal bond. This is it's like you could look at it like the strong and weak forces within the atom. The strong force is definitely the higher level force, okay? And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about something that's exponentially greater and larger. And if we make that connection, that's when you really see higher level development kick into gear, right? So someone like myself, let's use myself as an example. I may have gotten that lower level bonding with family when I was young, right? But it wasn't strong enough to pull me out of very, very dangerous mental virus associations and connections with other nefarious groups that were out there, and I slipped into that. Now, I personally wouldn't change it, because that experience made me the person, is part of what made me the person that I am today. But what had to come in as a influential force to override that was the agape form of love that came from people who put the truth out into the world that unfortunately I wasn't even open-minded to accept back when I was young. What it took for me was seeing the structure of the world from a very low level insider position. And thankfully that was enough, that I didn't have to go further into that darkness. So even just seeing it from that low level position shook me out of my stupor, you know, and that's when that higher bonding force, I became attracted and drawn to it, to study the works of people who bonded at that level, you could say, who were trying to forge an association between other human beings at the level of truth and at the level of true love, higher agape love and true freedom, by putting those works out into the world through a labor of their own personal sacrifice and love. And when I bonded with people at that level, not at the level of even knowing them personally, being involved in their physical lives, but bonded with them at the level of, this person's putting out the truth, and this is what's going to enrich my life as an individual and help me to develop and help me to learn and to grow. That type of bonding is stronger than the familial type of bonding. That type of bonding is stronger than philos love, or even below that, eros, romantic love. It's stronger than that. And that's what I think people have to really try to make an investigation of, and develop a deep understanding of that. Because what it does is, as you said, it then finally gets you to realize the one thing that everyone has to ultimately realize if we're going to really truly make a change in this world, is it has to then turn to a place of action within yourself. You have to convert your knowledge and understanding into wisdom. And as you said, you finally began doing that. And, that is what's then helping the process continue at that deeper level of bonding. That's agape love, when you do that for the benefit of everyone, because you know it to be right and you know it to be true. So let everyone know, what the work that you do is, if it can be found online anywhere, and then you could close out your thoughts with anything else. Go right ahead.
Great, thank you. Yeah, everything you said, is perfect. Yeah, the agape And when we start, when you get into that connection and serving others, it serves you, and it serves the universe as well, in a sense. Like, yeah, it's like the trifecta. Because when it starts blurring the lines. Are you helping yourself? No, not really, but you are as well. Are you helping another person? Well, not just that, but you're also helping that other person. But I think when you're really doing the right kind of work, suddenly it's like an energy shift, and at least for me, when I'm working with someone, I see that it's helping them, but it's enriching me. And I know that it's going to resonate, into the, it's like the rings when you throw a stone in the water. And that's when I know, it's like we're firing on all three of these main cylinders. And then that creates, and that into the last point I wanted to say, which was awesome during your Thelema presentation, is like, what I consider, to be like the real magic, where I call it like, real manifestation. You get a lot of these new agers like, oh, I manifested a parking spot, and I manifested a job, and I manifested, this, I talked about a rabbit, and the next day there was a rabbit. I manifest, and I'm manifesting a new dress, and it's just like, oh God. Now, what makes me like excited, what I consider like the magic, is when light and consciousness manifests in matter, in the human being, when the being becomes more conscious of connections, when that person, all his cells become more conscious of what they're eating. That is, light manifest. As I heard somewhere that Hugh is light, man manifest, light manifested. And that to me is the most amazing thing. And for anybody that would like to do this kind of magic, or, kind of a little, let's say, another supplement to all these teachings, and even for everybody trying to get to the point of natural law across, and finds resistance with people that, after a while they're like, no, this is not for me. It's usually the people, they get overstressed, they can't handle it. Their brain naturally throws on blockers because they can't handle it anymore. It's a natural body response. It's like after a hard days of work and you're stressed out and you turn on the news and it's just bad news, you turn off the TV because your body has to lower the cortisol levels, because cortisol damages the body. So either you turn the TV off, or you tell the person to stop talking, or your brain starts shutting off. So that's a problem we face when we try to teach these complex things and get people out of the head cage and out of the cult. And so the Art of Compassing, it's the first series. It's only 110 minutes long. There's 7 episodes. So even for people with a low attention span, can go through it piece by piece. And I've also created tests. You can unlock the next episode early by completing a test. And I also want to get people, to actively use the knowledge, because we're very used to watching a video and we're like, oh, I get that, but they didn't get that. Show me that you got it. So Art of Compassing teaches how quality connection through active, conscious compassion, heals our bodies and brains, and then in turn our relationships, and then our communities. And I've streamlined.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, where can this be found online?
Artofcompassing.com. One word. No spaces. Art of Compassing. It's not compassion. Right. It's compassing. A verb. Compassing. Artofcompassing.com. And I streamlined the key info needed so that people can not only be the opposite of what you call garbage parents, right? So it's very, if you can take care of a plant, if you understand a plant needs water and a plant needs light, and, maybe what's it called? Dig up the soil a little bit, aerate the soil once in a while, then you can understand what the biological body needs in terms of what classifies as, quote unquote, compassionate behavior. It's, thanks to the work of Gabor Mate as well. So not only can people with kids know what to do, but it also makes shadow work more approachable through the science-supported knowledge of how quality connection amongst mammals, which means, also as humans, is needed for brain health, brain balance, and how to increase brain resilience as to even have the capacity, the hardware, as we spoke
to receive
about,
it and process it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dan, that sounds like very, very high level information that could benefit a lot of people. So definitely check it out. The art of compassing, or just art.
It's
artofcompassing.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes.
And I think you guys will love it. I used my small will, desires and joys of art and art design and all the visuals. It's very visual, and it's analog props.
Great.
And analog drawings. And it's made for teenagers. I love engaging with teenagers in my work because they still haven't been corrupted that much. So 19-year-olds watch this, they get it right away. It's for all ages. Definitely, you guys check it out. And for you, Mark, you're more than welcome to use all
and definitely,
of it.
again, this sounds like something I'd like to highlight on One Great Work Network. So if it's something that you're interested in,
that would be beautiful.
Get in touch with me on Discord. I'm again very, very, very engaged in some personal matters right now. But before the end of this What on Earth is Happening season, I'd like to onboard probably at least between 6 and 8 more content creators. So do get in touch with me. I want to check out the work more, and I'd like to bring you onto the network if it's something that you're interested in. So let's stay in touch about that.
Right, most definitely. Thank you. And just as a technical aside, how to get in touch with you? Because I had written an email, and
my email is so out of control. It's difficult to manage because of how many people contact me. But just send me a personal message on Discord, and we'll talk about onboarding you.
So a personal message on Discord. Super, great. Thank you again very much. I look forward to it, and also thank you. I would like to thank that Corey, who spoke before us, and that he works in helping people become. He mentioned the point of helping people become fully formed beings, and that
true
is
individuation. It's such a critical component, not only to the One Great Work in general, but to the philosophy that we've been talking about over the last month now. Thelema. It's what it's ultimately about. Is separating from that hive reptilian type mind that is the cult, that is the virus, and going into true individuation. That's the Aeon of Horus, ladies and gentlemen. That's the crowned and conquering child that is referred to in the Thelemic writings. That's the true sun. That's the true light being born into the world. That's the understanding of natural law. That's living in harmony with natural law. That form of individuation is what opens us up to the true reception of the law, and that is higher love. That is agape. So Dan, I want to thank you for the phenomenal call. Thank you for the work that you're doing, especially when it comes to putting out information on conscious parenting. And let's talk more about bringing you on to One Great Work Network so even more people can become exposed to your work. And again, this is another example, ladies and gentlemen, of more people who are content creators. You see the trend. People who are putting out work on their own. That's what I like to see. People who have already gone through the fear process of not doing it. I'm not ready. I don't know enough. They worked through that. They improved themselves to the extent that they said, I'm going to begin. No matter how shaky the foundation is, I'll improve it. I'll improve as I go. So Dan, I want to thank you for making that courageous effort and putting the work out and contributing to the One Great Work. So thank you.
Thank you too, Mark. Much love to you, and I'll be in touch.
Have a great one. Great call. And before we go to our next callers, I want to again emphasize a resource. I've shown people it a little bit, but I would like to briefly show this to people. I'm going to switch over to my computer and take it full screen. And I'm going to show you how to get one of the books that I believe it was Corey, or it might have been another caller mentioned on Gerd Ziegler. So let's just say you hear an author mentioned, right? And you just want to try to download something that they've written to explore more, right? So let me switch over to it in full screen real quick. There we go. So this resource called Library Genesis, here's the name right here, okay, is one of the most powerful online resources for information in the form of books that you could ever find. Hardly anybody knows about this. I hope my viewership understands and knows about it. So here was the spelling of, here's Library Genesis, right? The website is libgen.is. Right there, you see it in the title bar, libgen.is. I typed in the name of the author, and a few books come back. Now, some of them are in probably, I believe he said it was Dutch, or Czech, I'm sorry. And here is one that is in English, published by Wiser Books. And here you see the title, Tarot, Mirror of the Soul, Handbook for the Aleister Crowley Tarot. Now, I'm going to show you another one called Understanding the Thoth Tarot in a moment. But I want to go through this exercise. I know I'm breaking up, taking some time in between the calls, but I think this is so important that we really should do this, because as more people get in the practice of understanding how to use the dark web, and make no mistake, this is what is considered a dark web website, okay, that knowledge can propagate at a faster rate of acceleration. And that's what we need. We need that more than ever at this time in human history. So using technology to do this, to get resources, is part of how you study. It's part of how you research. It's part of how you expand your own consciousness. Okay? We teach this in How to Become the True Media. I'm giving you a very light lesson on it here, on What on Earth is Happening, because I feel like I need to explain a little bit about technology, whet your appetite, and if you want to learn more, you could take the class, or you could even just do it on your own, study more on your own. But technology has to be looked at as a powerful opportunity. In the past, if you didn't have this book in your local library, well, you're shit out of luck. If somebody in the very ancient past, if somebody didn't transcribe this book via, by hand, you're shit out of luck. Look at the opportunity we have today to do extensive learning, to completely transform our minds. Let's take advantage of it. Simple tools, right? Bookmark in your web browser, Library Genesis, libgen.is. I'll spell it out, libgen.is. When you get to it, here's what it will look like. So I'll type it in manually. libgen.is. It's just a search engine. It looks like Google somewhat, right? It's got the search bar, right? Leave this check, just nonfiction. Okay, if you are looking for fiction, obviously check that. You could search scientific articles and magazines as well, right? But I'm going to type in understanding. But before I even do that, that's just the main website. I did a search already here, right? I'll move this tab over. And I want this book, Tarot, Mirror of the Soul, right? Now, other books we might have to look by Gerd Ziegler that was mentioned by the caller earlier. We may have to do another kind of search for them because there's only these four here, right? But let's just say, okay, here's one in English, and I want it. Mirror of the Soul, Handbook for the Aleister Crowley Tarot. Click the title. Now this will bring up a page displaying information about the book. And then it gives you a brief description. Using the Crowley Thoth deck, you learn that the tarot cards symbolize your inner reality. Learn how this mirror reflects your growth and how you can grow to your maximum with this easy-to-use system. Includes definitions of the major and minor arcana, instructions for reading the cards to clarify emotional situations, and provides several different layouts, including a chakra reading illustrated with the Crowley deck. Again, the Thoth deck. Now, how do you get the book, right? So this is one thing I don't particularly like about the way LibGen is structured, because a total beginner may be confused at this point and may not understand. The book is available for full download at this page right now, okay? And that's because they use the term mirrors instead of download locations. All the word mirrors right here is, that I've highlighted here, is technical jargon, right? So if you're not privy to the technical jargon, which is old technical jargon from like the early 90s, a mirror on the internet just means a download location, meaning we could put the same file up in 1,000 different places if we want, and we could call all of those locations mirrors for the same file because they reflect the exact same information, okay? It's honestly probably a Unix person made the site, and they chose this very ancient, sort of outdated jargon in the tech world that I personally have no problem with. But if you're trying to appeal to a wider audience, you want to maybe use just the term download locations. Okay, that's it. That's all mirrors are. Okay, so just clarifying the technical jargon that is the source of confusion. Because I've shown this page to like 6 different people, right? You know, not this particular book, but search a book on LibGen, show them the page that results. I've done this with like 6 people, and I said, what would you click next? And they all go up here, right? They go over here. And I'm like, no, this section is where the books are hosted, right? These are the download locations. Now, I like the one just using the local. They use library.lo or LOL, library.lol, okay? So I'm going to use that one, the one that says this mirror, right? It's very reliable. They seem to have a very good, LibGen uses a good CDN. Again, that's technical jargon. A CDN is just the anagram for a content delivery network. It just means a place where somebody can upload content and have it be available for anyone who wants to download it. That's what a content delivery network is. It delivers content from one person or a group of people to a huge group of people. Anyone on the internet who wants to download that content. So we are using LibGen, their own CDN that they have named library.lol. Okay, so I'm going to now hit this link that says get right here, and that will actually then transfer the book to my computer. So I hit get, and you'll see my downloads have opened. Okay, and now it's transferring the book. All right, so let's let that do it. I can watch it in this window right here. And it's coming through a little bit slowly. It says it has a few minutes left on the download, even though it's not really such a small file. It's a 60 megabyte PDF document. I'm guessing that it's large because it has high definition, high resolution scans of the cards in the book, would be my guess. So this is atypical. This is non-typical for LibGen. The books usually download pretty blazingly fast. This, however, is a pretty big one. So, you got to bear with it a little bit. So I'm going to just, allow that to continue. And we could even do that. We could even just do something else while that continues. Okay, so I'll go back to this page. Let's close that. I'll go back to this page. I can close that tab. Let's start a new search here. Give me 1 second. I'm just taking a drink of water. All right, let's do a new search in here and type in understanding the Thoth Tarot and hit search. This is one of the best books. Again, we gave some resources for Thelemic writings, right? But if you want to study Crowley's Thoth deck, I think this is one of the best resources for it. Okay, so I'm looking here at the file sizes, and I'm probably going to want to go with the one that has the highest resolution of the cards and other scanned images in the book. So this book is written by Lon Milo Duquette. I think he might have had some co-authors. I'm not sure. But he's the main author. And his writings are great on the topic of Crowley and Thelema in general. I do think he understands it quite well. So this book, I think, is one of the definitive books on the Thoth Tarot as well. So I'm going to click the title, Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Deck. This is the cover art, and again, I was just reading this. I have a physical copy of this that I was reading last night. So I'm going to hit this mirror, and then I'm going to hit get. All right, now we'll have 2 books downloading here. This one's coming in a little faster, actually. You can see the download speeds. They're probably going to even out. And that's okay. I'll just let those download. All right, but while they're downloading, I'll show you something else. Again, this is part of understanding how do you research on the dark web. I want to show you a page called Unblock It. Okay, so this is constantly changing the URL because they try to cycle ahead of censorship, right? So right now it's unblockit.blue. And I would bookmark this, right? So I'm going to copy this. I have a bookmark in my browser already. I'm going to just right-click on it and hit edit the bookmark. And then I'm going to see it was unblockit.llc, right? So I'm going to erase that one as the URL, and I'm going to paste in unblockit.blue, which is the current URL. So that's how you stay on top of censorship. They rotate the domain, which is pretty genius. And they let the last domain forward to the current one, the last one that they used. Now, if it changes in the future, it might go to unblockit.to or something like that, right? So blue will then be a forward. The blue domain will forward to .to. And we see that one of the books just completed. But see this Unblock It, it will give you access to so much of what's been blocked from search engines. You have torrent sites, you have streaming sites, sports, direct download, music, and here's books. So I use this section a lot, right? So there's LibGen right at the beginning of books, okay? And you can click into there, and it'll probably see they're using the unblockit.blue domain to host a mirror of LibGen, right? This is how Unblock It does it. So they're not even relying on the original URL of libgen.is. They're giving you a mirror of it. This is a great way to stay ahead of censorship, okay? And so you can use Unblock It to reach a lot of blocked and censored domains. Just wanted to show you that as a resource. Right now, the domain is unblockit.blue, okay? Bookmark that, stay on top of it, but when it changes, visit it frequently, and when it changes, update your bookmark. It's not that hard, okay? You just got to get into the practice of doing things like that, right? When you get into the practice of doing it, then it becomes second nature, and you're like, why wasn't I doing it like this all along, okay? So, going back to the downloads that we were working on, they're both finished, okay? I can click on, where is it? My downloads here. Well, one of them is finished. And here is the Gerd Ziegler Tarot Mirror of the Soul. I'll click the magnifying glass to show it in the Finder. Okay? Let me minimize these. All right. And here is the book. I could double click it to open it. I'll make it full screen. The entire book, including all of the images and the cover, is there. There's the table of contents. This is a PDF scan. You want to go into the Thoth Tarot deeply, here's the book for you. Okay? And then they even have scans of the cards in black and white, but there it is. With explanations of each individual card. Okay? I'll hit escape to get out of that, full screen mode, and close the book. Now, here's the other one that just completed. Lon Milo Duquette's Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. I'm going to double click that to open it. There it is as a PDF. Color scans. Okay, I'll make it full screen. And now we can page through it. The whole book scanned. Again, not as elegant as an EPUB, which allows for reflowing text, making the text, larger or smaller, reading in night mode, with white text or lightly colored text on a dark background, etc. But everything is here. The whole contents of the book. He's talking there about the Book of the Law, how Crowley is said to have received it, and then the concept of the Aeon of Horus. As a matter of fact, let's just look at this a little bit. I'll blow it up a bit and move this over. Sorry. Let me try to go to the part where he, if he does, describes the Aeon of Horus. I think it's in the last chapter where he really talks about it. Yeah, here it is. In the Aeon of Isis, I'll blow it up a little so it's easier to see. And move it over. There we go. In the Aeon of Isis, we identified with the earth. Life came miraculously from earth and woman. All magical pantheons were aspects of the goddess. Death was a mystery whose depths were impossible to plumb. In the Aeon of Osiris, we identified with the dying/resurrected sun. All magical pantheons were aspects of God the Father. Death could be magically overcome by obedience to formulae, rites, and doctrine. But in the Aeon of Horus, we identify with the self-radiant, ever-living sun. All magically pantheons have become aspects of ourselves. We, like the sun, do not die. Death, like night, is an illusion. Life is now seen as a process of... Let's go to the next page. And I lost it. Give me a moment. There we go. As a process of continual growth, and humanity I apologize, folks. I'm trying to blow it up and move around at the same time, and that's what's creating the problem. All right. Life is seen as a process of continual growth, and humanity is developing a consciousness of the continuity of existence that will eventually dissolve the sting of death. So, these are the kind of messages, this is the kind of understanding you develop when you begin to understand occult philosophy such as Thelema. It helps with spiritual growth and improvement. And, I'll just keep going with this. It says, it is important for us to remember that the traditional images of the tarot were developed during the Aeon of Osiris, an age when it was universally accepted that the sun died each night and was reborn magically each morning. The old Last Judgment trump was a perfect example of the death/resurrection theme of the dying god. I would say it's a perfect example of the death and resurrection of the soul of the individual. As we will see in the Aeon trump of the tarot, of the Thoth tarot, Crowley has now replaced the images of the old formula, resurrected corpses rising from graves on Judgment Day, with new images, the deities pictured on the stelae of revealing, images that reflect the forces at work at the dawn of a new age, the forces that embody the new Aeon formula of continuous life. This is the good news of the Book of the Law. This is the good news of the Aeon of Horus. Again, it's the age of the individual coming into the light of creation. Not being God, but being able to receive the laws of the Creator. The Thoth Tarot is arguably the most brilliant and beautiful attempt to convey in images and color this universal prophetic message. Each card in the deck is set like a stained glass window in a magnificent cathedral erected as a celebration of evolving human consciousness. Every person who views them is touched in different ways. Some may wish to meditate on the story they tell. Some may feel impelled to dissect each image minutely. Others may simply want to bathe in the light and colors. No one, however, leaves this cathedral of the new Aeon untouched by the experience. Brilliantly said by Lon Milo Duquette there. And I highly encourage the reading of this book, because it's one of the great explanations of the Thoth Tarot and the Tarot in general, I think. So, again, it's called Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, an authoritative examination of the world's most fascinating and magical tarot cards. So, again, an addendum to what we have been talking about over the last month here on What on Earth is Happening as part of the occult philosophy of Thelema. So I think I've covered what I want to cover there, a little tech lesson, right? Just re-emphasizing how people can go about getting just about any book that they want. Just about. I'm not going to say every book in the world is up there, obviously, but many, many of the most important ones are indeed up there. So I think that was worth a little bit of time in the show, and let's jump back over to our callers. Let's see. Let's hear from... let's hear from Bill. Bill, you're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome, my friend. Bill Church, content creator on the One Great Work Network. You are unmuted on the server end. Go ahead and unmute your mic. There you go, Bill.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Not bad. Yourself?
Doing great. I'm so happy that I tuned in. The art of, what was that website that Dan said earlier?
Art of Compassing.
Of Compassing.
Yes.
Wow, dude.
Good stuff.
Wow. Yeah, great stuff, man. And just like, it's crazy how the lips of wisdom are sealed except through the ears of understanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why preparation of the mind and the body informing that preparation is so important. If people are closed down to it, it's like talking to a brick wall. These traditions pave the way for reception. The Western mystery traditions are ultimately at the very foundation is Kabbalah, the way to receive properly the information of the law. And I feel like while Kabbalah is the foundation, right? And then you could put all the other traditions as building blocks upon it, right? Tarot, Rosicrucianism, Theosophy, Freemasonry, of course. The ultimate expression for me, and again, I'm speaking for myself only, I do not look at this from a Crowleyite perspective. But if you delve into Thelema deeply enough, for me, it's the ultimate expression that is the final finishing touches of an elaborate cathedral or palace on top of the firm foundation of Kabbalah. That's what Thelema is to me. That's the one that that just polished the understanding firmly and really, really hammered it home and got me to understand it at the fullest level. That's why I have so much respect for it. So I just wanted to say that. Go ahead with whatever you wanted to continue with, Bill.
Well, I mean, just the tree, right? The ladder to
That's
God,
right.
The Kabbalah tree, and then look at the top where, and then the Thelema with love is the law, and then I love that analogy that was talking about the tarot, the stained glass,
Yes.
right? And that just, I think, illustrates your point even further of that being kind of the ordained house of worship, kind of. But to know thyself.
That's what it's all about.
Is the goal here, right?
The tarot is the.
We're not worshiping anybody else.
That's it. It's
finding out and using these tools to get a deeper understanding of who you are.
Perfectly said.
Fundamentally.
That's exactly what these tools are for. That's what the dark occult is attempting to prevent. They don't want that because a person who's truly self-realized can't be controlled, cannot be controlled, cannot be enslaved. They want us in pure self-ignorance. And that's why they tell us, don't ever look at this information. Don't ever study the occult. That's all bad and evil. You don't want any part of that because that keeps you in pure ignorance of self to a large extent. You can discover it in other ways. I'm not saying that occult traditions are the only way that you can discover that. But guess what? These are the refinements of that process over the centuries, over the aeons. And when you see what a rich tradition they are, if you do study them in depth, and you do finally realize what a rich tradition these are, and the depth and breadth of information that they are bringing to you, you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe that I once was resistant to looking into this. Almost every single individual I have ever talked with who has gone into an in-depth personal study of occult works has come back and said, I can't believe I had the attitude about this that I had previously. Thanks for even just pointing the way and saying you might want to take a look at that. It can help you out along the way. So, I think that's a great point to make there, Bill.
Well, and to understand that there are effects that hamper and just affect our behavior, man. And I mean, I had health issues with my wife the last year. You know
Yes.
about that, and we're over it. But
I'm
dude,
very, very
times that I
glad to
couldn't
hear
sleep.
that, Bill.
And
That's great. That is great news.
Yeah. But I couldn't sleep for 5 days. I started eating junk food, dude. Like there's something that happens to you when you're really stressed out that you literally don't care. And it starts to just have an effect on you and have a cumulative effect on you. And so I'm so thankful that I've heard about the nutrition. I'm getting myself back on course here. But I got to tell you, Mark, that I also have some PTSD over the last couple of years of seeing my brothers and sisters of humanity and seeing the depth of slavery that they love being in with this COVID, the pandemic, and
it's been such a challenge.
Really,
and in the middle of it, I know my stress came out through some brutal anger. And I'm still being challenged just about every day. I'm going through a pretty stressful period right now. Many people might not see that. I think I'm handling it a lot better. I'm trying to do some work to get my anger and rage over the world situation under better control, but it's still there. And the personal issues that I'm dealing with right now actually exacerbated all that other stress. And so I basically had to make a decision. Either I'm going to try to manage and mitigate that, or it's going to kill me. And some days I don't do as well with it.
And it will kill you,
and
dude.
some days
it will make you sick. And
I can deal with it better, Yeah.
So I think that's why it's important for us to come together as a community.
Sure. Without a doubt.
And cooperate in mental health and get together and talk. And that's why this art of compassing, I think is a great start. I'm going to reach out to Dan. I'm going to start, now that my journey with the wife, health issues is over, I'm going to start creating content again myself. And what I love about the Thelemic aspect that Dan was talking about, and how we present the natural law, we overlay it with the passion that you have for life. So I work with animals, right? And I speak about natural law every single time that I talk about the animal in front of us, and how they're a great reminder of the law of nature or natural law. And they don't read our stop signs. They see the lines on our road and they walk right through them. You know, we need to teach them about human contraptions and different things. We're bringing them into a human world. And it's a reminder, and a good reminder, to let them know, hey, look, there's another world out here that we are kind of shut off from by choice, because it's safer and it feels better. But the majesty that the universe provides, once you start opening your eyes to it, just like I was saying, man, you know, the lips of wisdom are sealed except to the ears of understanding. But I think that the visions of inspiration are blind except to the eyes that wish to seek them, you know. And you need to make a conscious choice to get out in nature and feel that natural law, feel the rhythm of that which is, and remind yourself that you are part of that. We all hold the pattern, the golden ratio that is found within, as without, so within, as above, so below, right? The 7 Hermetic principles. So
Absolutely.
I love you, Mark. I appreciate you,
Bill,
dude. Keep it up,
Bill,
dude.
thank you so much.
I'm here
Thank
for
you for your contributions. I'm very, very, very happy and relieved to hear the news about your wife getting through that health situation. And thank you for your contributions to the One Great Work Network, my friend. And you're absolutely correct. We do need community. We do need connection at the physical level with others. Just being around each other, coming together for mutual support. It's definitely important. Seek that out. Find it in your local area, or start something yourself. That's what this is all about. Contributing to each other, being there and being supportive to each other. I am thankful for that in my sphere. I sometimes will complain I don't have enough of that, but it is there. And even some of the local groups that get together simply to talk about these issues, vent to each other, be supportive for each other and the whole cause of human freedom. It's very important to have human engagement like that. You don't want to sit and fester about this stuff alone. Obviously, we're in a challenging time, and that is such an important aspect to always refresh ourselves of and keep in mind. So I want to thank you, Bill, for bringing that up to the viewing audience. Thank you.
My pleasure, bro. And I'll be in Philly here in a couple of weeks. I'll get a hold of you.
Absolutely. Let's hit me up and let's definitely get together. All right, my friend.
All right, man. Keep up the good work.
Bill Church, ladies and gentlemen. Great content creator on the One Great Work Network. Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. All right. Let's go over here. And let's go to another caller. Let's hear from Nick. Nick, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome to the show.
There we go. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Mark, I love what you do, man.
Thank you.
Let's skip all that, though. I don't want to shine your ego.
I hear you.
But either way, but either way, like you said, it's not good enough, obviously. We haven't accomplished the one great work yet. That's right. More effort is required. No. Absolutely. We cannot rest on any laurels. Absolutely. Very true. And you're definitely one that's leading that path in a way. But I don't really know what I can say on there. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Well, what about anything regarding Thelema, as we have covered it over the last few weeks?
Well, why do you have 93 in your name? I don't have to watch your stuff to know what Thelema is. But I love it. It's very. I show it to plenty of people. They don't want to hear it though. Like you said, they have a mental barrier. It's very hard to get through. It's almost like they want to be controlled.
Yeah, so we talked about the number 93, why it's important in the system of Thelemic numerology. So I could briefly, talk about that if you want. When you break down the characters of the Greek word Thelema, which means will in Greek, and it's not to be confused with my will or another individual's will. It is the will of creation, is seen as the will of the universe, the grand purpose of the whole creative energy and mind of creation itself. That is what we're talking about when we say the word thelema, meaning will. If you go into the Greek system of gematria, which is assigning a numerical value for each letter, it equals 93. And then the concept in Thelema of higher love, which we talked about earlier.
And what's with the Saturn link in 93? Have you discussed that yet or no?
No, I haven't. I have heard about and looked into obviously Saturnian cult ideology. Obviously, that's very big in our world as far as the judicial system, the monetary system, etc. Saturn is considered in the whole sphere of energy as far as astronomy is concerned as the disciplinarian.
Look, it's 456 right now. Perfect. But either way, I'm saying when I heard you talk about green and how green is like the balance, like
the middle of the spectrum of color. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. I already know what you're talking about. Like to the point where it's like it's unbelievable. It's like it's not for everybody though. You can't force this on people. I think people need to be led in a certain way.
I would say that we need to be leaders until we can build other people up to then let them go on their own.
Mark, I'm sorry. This is my whole main point. I'm finally getting to talk to you. This is my whole main point. When you try to tell people, like you enlighten people, you work with them, they're your best friend or whatever, and you give them certain information. Maybe this is why this stuff's kept secret, because it could be used in a really, really negative way.
Oh, that's definitely one of the reasons. That's no doubt one of the reasons. That's why it has to be taught in sort of a stepwise progression. So in emphasizing in my work, you can't take this episode on its own.
You don't give a monkey a machine gun.
True, but you can basically build it up from scratch and ratchet it up slowly, and the person is improving as you give them more information.
Mark, you never know who you're talking to, right? I could show you some amazing. I'd love to show you this maybe off camera. But yeah, you can grab like dice or coins, whatever the hell you want, and we're gonna get it whatever every single time. Like probability, that's their.
Well, you can make the argument. The same argument could be made that every individual shouldn't be allowed to own a gun. But if one individual can't own a gun, you're restricting the rights of everyone. It's the same dynamic ultimately when it comes to information. Information has to flow freely in the long term for anyone to be free. If you start restraining it, this is the mistake of occultists of old. Instead of pressing it.
I hear you. I hear you. But like you said, it has to be. So, but you're saying it's almost like an initiatory process.
I think it ultimately does have to be, yes. Because you can't teach the last chapter of the book until you teach the first chapter of the book. Right? So you got to lay it down to someone in a way that helps them open up their mind. If you can do it like that, then you're going to make headway. You're going to make progress. So hopefully that, that point is well made.
It's
yes.
Almost, but Mark, you already know this. It's like even if you gave it to them, they won't understand it. It's going to go right over.
So when you say, let me ask you a question. When you say, when you give it to them, right?
No, not me. I'm saying, that like listen, this knowledge just like fell into
right. But that is what I'm talking about, right? So it's going to come from an individual at first.
It's not anything. It has nothing to do with YouTube.
Right.
You're not finding it on YouTube or Mark
the first
Passio
time you hear any information.
I love Mark Passio to death. But I'm saying, like you said, it has nothing to do with Mark Passio.
But
the real information is the real information.
True. Let me make this point. When somebody first hears new information that they had not yet encountered, that they, up to this point in their lives, they never heard any idea like this, right? One of the first things people do, especially if that information conflicts with existing information that they already have been pre-programmed with over and over and over again, is they're going to say, that can't be the truth. They're going to reject it almost outright because they haven't developed a mindset of higher intelligence that says, don't accept it, don't reject it, just listen and take it in. What makes that process?
Exactly. You don't look at it's called social engineering. It's called the formative years from ages 0 to 6, pretty much, when you're being formulated into this.
The formative years of development. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what?
So it's heavily imprinted. All
True.
we have to do is reprogram our subconscious mind. No one ever talks about this. What I recommend people doing is not easy. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. And all it takes is one person. You don't have to go online or do any of that. Sometimes the best things are left in the background. You don't have to go online.
What makes a person? What makes a person originally begin to open up their mind? They have to hear it from more than one individual. Almost everybody has to hear it from multiple eclectic sources.
And then it has to resonate within, right? So you're having these like human processes, these filters on all these experiences that you have in your little ego,
right? That are colored. They're colored from all the previous information you've taken in. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. We have these little filters on everything, and that does not equate to what the substance is.
True. That is the difference between
it's all about
perception versus the actual state of nature and reality. And to go to your
it's not about me or you.
To speak to your previous point, what eventually opens them up to that ability to receive is some of the practices of these mystery traditions or occult traditions of consciousness. And that's why we have to use it as a practice, not just information, but again, as you said, there are ways of healing subconscious trauma. There are ways of preparing the subconscious to take in a new format. Yes.
Well, guess what, Passio? I think you would agree with me. Chin up and get ready for it. It's called being an individual.
That's right.
They're destroying the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine. They're trying to distort that. It's time to take back our fucking power as individuals. Enough of this. I don't want to hear little excuses or any of this.
That's right.
It's too hard to learn. It's too hard to fucking... No.
It's actually quite simple. It doesn't mean that it's easy. It's quite simple.
It's not easy. I
Definitely not.
If it was easy, it wouldn't be fun. It's easy fun.
Right.
Like you said, I'm a psychopath, but I'm a good psychopath.
Well, I wouldn't say that I am a psychopath, or it would be good to be a psychopath, but you got to have that.
You are a fucking psycho. You're a psychopath. You're a good one.
You got to have the psychopath.
In a way, you got to have it, but I know you.
Yep.
I'm not. But trust me,
Nick, I want to.
When it comes to,
I want to thank you for the points that you made, especially that you really do need to work on undoing the existing formative programming that has been done to us by the social engineer class. That is one of the most important topics that can really be brought up and discussed, because if we don't do that work upon ourselves, we're letting all of that subconscious negative information stay there and fester, and it's a form of a virus. It's a mental and spiritual virus. So if we take it into our hands to say, you know what, that's just programming, that's code that exists there, and someone else put that there. They injected it, right? They injected it like pushing a plunger on a needle on a syringe and injected that into the mind. Well, guess what? We can inject new code. That's always within our power. It's always within our potential and possibility. We just have to activate our will to say, This code that's in here already, that's not doing us any good. That's not doing us any justice. What that's doing is that's holding us back from actually manifesting what we say we want for ourselves. So we inject new code, and then we can change that format of programming. Then we could start building new things on top of it. And again, that's what the Western mystery traditions of consciousness, what people have simply called Western occultism, they are an initiatory, stepwise building block process to do that in a way that doesn't make the person react horrifically, negatively, take the information and do bad things with it. It's already structured in a way that if you simply take it in order, okay, now some people will try to take things out of order all the time, right? They want to skip to chapter 20 before they read the first 19. But if we assist and guide that process and explain to people, just start from where you're at, no shame in where you're at, start and go in order. That's why every week, or just about every week, I reemphasize what on earth is happening is a stepwise progression of information, deliberately created that way. I've made my version of a mystery school, right? Or just an occult tradition. I call it de-occulting, right? I'm not here to keep the information secret. I can't force it into anybody's mind. I can speak it plainly and unapologetically and try to get people to understand it in as simple a way as possible. And then I could structure it. This is the foundation. Episode 1, build up. Step number 2, that's episode 2. Go in order. Go at your own pace. Don't rush. One of the big principles that I put forward, ladies and gentlemen, in how to become the true media is don't rush it. Don't try to... Yeah, we can understand the immediacy, the moral immediacy of our situation. It's important to keep that in mind. We don't have unlimited time. But the more you rush a process, the more unwielding it's going to be. You need to structure things. If you structure something, it becomes more readily received and understood by people. So to this caller, to Nick's point, yes, we don't want to hide it from people. We want to de-occult it. The mystery traditions of old made the mistake of saying, oh, these people just aren't ready to receive it, so we're going to hold it all to ourselves. We don't have the benefit and luxury of continuing to do that. It was not the correct thing to do. I know that many people, even in the freedom community and the occult community, insist that yes, it is. And they're going to be the arbiters of that. They're going to be the judges of who's ready to receive it or not. See, I am not in that level of hubris to say who is or who is not ready. An event could take place with who you may think, or who anyone may think is the most hardened, calcified ego in the world. And some event may take place in their lives, and the next day they're willing to open their mind. You don't know whether someone's going to become open-minded to receiving this. That's why it's important to have it out there, to have it ready for when they are willing to receive it. That's why I say to people like family members or friends that don't want, or associates who don't want the information, I say, I'm putting it out there, and when you're ready, it will be there, right? I'm doing that work. I'm making it available freely. And then when the change happens inside of you that makes you prepared to receive it, it will all be there for you. And you could then go through it, and you could even take what you want, leave what you don't want, refine the rest, do whatever you want with it, but it'll be there. And that's my gift of sharing. That's my compassionate work to people who already aren't in a good mindset, but I'm doing it anyway, and I'm giving it to them freely. So, great points made, Nick, and those are my, refinements of those ideas, because I do think we have to de-occult this. Even if we do look at some people as, man, you're so screwed up, you're not, I may, in my assessment mentally, think that you'll never receive it, but don't necessarily immediately count people out. Things could happen in their lives that then they will surprise you at how transformed certain things may make them and how much that may spur them on to want to receive this type of information. I've honestly, just as another brief anecdote to complete this addendum to your call, I have received personal communication from people who absolutely did not want to hear what I had to say in earlier days of What on Earth is Happening. And then they've wrote back to me and said, it took more suffering and pain for me. It took, reevaluating my existing beliefs because of things that happened to me or things that happened to people who I cared about. And then suddenly I could hear what you were saying. It's like literally there's a block in translation, and life events and or certain internal forms of growth can switch on a universal translator like in Star Trek, okay? Where language that literally could not be understood or even heard previously, suddenly in the snap of a fingers is able to be heard and understood. So do not necessarily count people out immediately, although I know it can seem like, hey, these are just people who will absolutely never get it. So 2 points that teaches in, that we teach in How to Become the True Media that relate to this last call. One is never rush. Take your time. Unpack it and let it take as long as it requires to be unpacked and to learn. Don't rush the process, right? Yes, take a sense of immediacy about it. We all understand that. But don't rush to the point where you're then doing things half-ass. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing fully and all the way. And that means taking the necessary time to learn it and do it. And the second point is never give up. Total persistence is going to pay off in the long term. So have I had days where I feel like completely giving up? Oh, almost so many times I can't count. Have I had blow-ups? Have I had, possibly even unproductive rage regarding the world situation? Yes. I don't beat myself up about that. It's what it is. That's me going through my process. Here's the main point. Never give up. Keep moving forward. When you keep doing the same thing, results will come. You go to the gym. You might not see the results in a week. In a month, you'll see some results. In 6 months, you'll see better results. In a year or 2 years, you'll see even greater results. It's the same exact thing when it comes to this work. It's the same exact process when it comes to the one great work. When you start doing martial arts, you're going to seem like you're some kind of a clumsy clod at the very beginning of it. When you do it for 8 months to a year, you're going to say, I am way better at this than when I started. When you do it for 8 years, then you're going to say, I'm really, truly understanding this and becoming, somewhat good at it. We have to look at ourselves as in the process of continual learning and growth as individuals. That's the Aeon of Horus in Thelema. That's exactly what it means. It means the emphasis is upon the individual as the basic unit of consciousness. And to improve that is to make improvements to the whole, because everything is a holographic aspect of creation. Powerful and transformative truth can be found in such an occult tradition, an occult philosophy, if we really read what it's really about and what's truly there, instead of getting hung up on, individuals and personalities and what people say about it, instead of really delving into the deep waters by studying it truly itself. So thank you, Nick, for the call. Let's hear from Glenn. Glenn, you're live on What on Earth is Happening. If you could just simply lower the input gain on your mic, it's coming through a little bit hot. That's much better. Go right ahead.
Okay. Hi, Mark.
Not bad. Yourself?
Yeah. I'm battling out there.
I hear you. We all are.
Yeah. Mark, a quick question, because I want others also to have a go with their questions. I'm studying right now the tarot cards, and because of I'm doing as well the tarot
Yes.
deck, and I've managed to discover a switch.
Yes.
With the
811.
in
Yes.
11.
I've talked
Yeah,
about it
yeah.
a lot,
So,
actually. I even talked about it a little bit in Demystifying the Occult Part 1. It's a change that many of the members of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn adopted in some of their tarot decks because of the importance that they placed upon the development of courage, and saw courage as the leading force of inspiration in universal terms. And so they placed it at the Keter position of the macrocosmic tree of life. When you take the major arcana and you split it into two sets of 11 cards, 10 cards on each side of the split, representing the Sephirot of the microcosmic tree of life with the personal forces, and the macrocosmic tree of life with the transpersonal or universal forces, and then cards 0 and 21 representing the Da'at position, which is not a Sephirot, but is where the other 10 Sephirah are considered to grow from to form the tree of life. That is the source of the tree of life, the Da'at, or knowledge position, because these are all aspects of knowledge of self and knowledge of the universe and the universal laws and forces. The mistake in doing that is they are switching the position of the card that can never be taken down from that macrocosmic tree Keter position on the macrocosmic tree of life, which is the justice card, natural law. You cannot remove that from that position, which is why I would say it's an error on their part. I don't think that they are doing that maliciously in the Golden Dawn, but the error was picked up and multiplied by Crowley, and he kept those cards switched in the improper arrangement as well. The justice card must be the 11 card. Absolutely. Absolutely. Courage is part of the microcosmic tree and is on the personal forces at work in the individual. And if you even place it at the level of where it belongs, which I believe is Hod on the tree of life, okay, then that aligns with the solar plexus chakra, or the guts. So it's a perfect correlation. And then Keter position is the crown. That is the godhood position, essentially, right? The mastery, right? So the self mastery is the magician, but universal mastery force, which is natural law, can never be taken down from that second Keter position of 11, which is the top level of the tree of life.
The way I saw it, the first thing came into my mind was like, okay, maybe he was trying to kind of like equate the law with courage in some sense. Do you think that's also something that he might?
I think they were emphasizing courage to the extent that they wanted to place it as the highest universal force that should guide us. Courage is absolutely important, but nothing should be more guiding of a principle than natural law and morality itself. So again, I don't agree with the switch. I understand the switch. Earlier on, I didn't have enough knowledge to even really truly understand the switch. Okay, now I really deeply understand that switch, and I do not agree with it. I think it is an improper association, but I do understand why it was done, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you, Mark. I was just wondering that maybe Crowley had another, equating these two things with each other, like the law and the courage. That was basically the way I understand it the first time I saw it. But that you're explaining now, and I saw the demystifying the occult a few times. I didn't saw you,
right?
The official the official presentation. I saw it a few times. I saw the first one and the second one. Did you did it in the second one or the first one?
In Demystifying the Occult Part 1, where I broke down all of the tarot cards, I believe I briefly talk about that switch that was done in many of the decks of the of Golden Dawn members, which Crowley was one.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I will double check that. Thank you.
You
Thank
got
you,
it.
Mark. Very helpful. Very helpful.
Yeah, so briefly, I'll show you what Glenn was referring to here. I think it's a good refresher. And it's good that you noticed that, Glenn, in the Thoth deck. So let's see. Let me bring up these images momentarily, and we could just go through it real quick. Give me one moment, and I'll grab that presentation. I have it on my other computer. So this is what's good about using NDI as a protocol. I could simply go and get something, bring it into open it up on this computer, and have it in the show. It's something that I'll be teaching in How to Become the True Media. If people understand the technology known as NDI, or Network Device Interface, it is going to be an aha moment and a transformative, powerful understanding in video workflow. It's something I'll definitely emphasize in the class. So just give me one moment. I'm opening up the presentation. I'm trying to get to it. Nope, not in there. Hold on. I'm just going to open up Demystifying the Occult because I know for sure that it's in there. There we go. All right, I have the images. I'll just bring them into another presentation document real quick. And then I will be able to show you this on screen, in full screen. There we go. And this is an actual important topic. I'm glad you brought this up, Glenn, because many people will also find this confusing, and I want to demystify it a little bit for people. So just give me a very brief moment here. It'll be worth the wait. Perfect. All right, let's go full screen with this. I've said I want to do more interactive stuff on What on Earth is Happening, and like maybe even build a whole presentation during the show, and just do things more off the cuff instead of so much intense preparation for it. But this is a good preparation for that. So there we go. This is what Glenn was talking about, ladies and gentlemen. One of the most powerful things that you could do with the tarot deck, and this is something that you can learn in Thelema, especially studying the Thoth deck, with the exception of that reversal of the cards 8 and 11. So these are the two trees of the tarot. Now, when you study tarot in conjunction with Kabbalah, one of the things that you're going to learn is that they traditionally ascribe the paths that connect the tarot cards to the major arcana. To the Sephirah the spheres on the tree of life, the Sephirot, okay? The paths that connect them are ascribed to tarot cards of the major arcana. We are not doing that here in this layout or arrangement of the cards of the major arcana. We're laying them out on the individual spheres of the Sephirot, okay? So you start up here. This is card number 1, but there's a 0 card in the tarot, okay? So again, I told you, you have to split the major arcana. There's 22 cards in the major arcana, and they are numbered 0 through 21, not 1 through 22. And there's a reason for that. There's a reflection of nothing, nothingness, emptiness, void, etc. Or what you would call the cosmic egg, the 0 point. The point from which everything else must spring and grow. The feminine creative force. Okay? So when you really study the tarot from this perspective, combined with the knowledge of the tree of life of the Kabbalah and what all of the Sephirot mean individually as emanations, as aspects of human consciousness and aspects of the laws of nature, then you're going to come into a very powerful and personally transformative understanding. I've covered this in presentations and here on What on Earth is Happening. But right here is where you have to start with the 0 card. Now you'll notice there's a correlation between, and I colored these building blocks according to the chakra colors, the steps on the ladder to God, as they call the tree of life. Here you have the color of the root chakra. This is the sacrum chakra, the solar plexus. And again, they're the colors of the visible spectrum. Okay? The heart chakra, green of course. The throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and then finally the crown chakra. So you have the colors in the visible spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Okay? And white is the color of the pure aspect of consciousness, and that is the root of the tree. You can't look at the root as here. That is simply the base or trunk. This is the root in the dot position. And there's a reason, because this triumvirate of cards right here that I'm pointing to, the dot, then Binah and Hokmah, is the trivium. This card, dot, means knowledge, Binah means understanding, and Hokmah means wisdom. Okay? These cards give you the names of the left-hand path. This is Geburah, or severity, and this is Hesed, or mercy. Okay? And then here is the heart, or Tiferet. And then you have Hod and Netzah, okay, which is internal courage, and then willpower. And then this is Yesod. That's the sacrum chakra representing desire. And then, of course, this is earthbound identification. And that is the Wheel of Fortune card. That is Malkuth, where we are supposedly trapped, as the allegorical philosophy of Kabbalah shows us. And then we have to make the fool's journey, or hero's journey, however you want to look at it, to ascend the tree of life and attain the position of Keter, or mastery of self, the magician, the magus. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant correspondences, brilliant allegory, brilliant symbolism. Actually, perfectly done. And that's the journey of the self, the microcosmic realm, knowledge of self. Then we have knowledge of how the universal forces work on the macrocosmic tree of life, with the world as the root. right? And it's a reflection because it's the zero, the cosmic egg from which all the laws of nature spring, bounded by the angels of the corners, the man, the lion, the bull, the eagle, okay? And it's a reflection of the zero card itself, representing the soul, the journey of the soul. That's the hero's journey, the journey of the fool, They're basically saying at this point in history only a fool would decide to take it, but actually that may make one stronger and wiser in the long term and develop the soul even more when it has more resistance that it encounters. Then it can grow even deeper at a deeper and fuller level. So going back to the macrocosmic tree of life here, we start at the bottom with judgment. And again, this is what I say when I say I'm going to do a presentation about cosmic justice and cosmic judgment, because they're the two extreme ends of the macrocosmic tree of life. And that is why you can't reverse card 11, the justice or natural law card, the king of all creation, the law, and love is the law. You can't reverse that with the strength card or card number 8. Okay? This has to stay here as a personal force. This is the cosmic force of cosmic justice, natural law. Can never be dethroned from that position. So, this is where we're at as humanity, trapped in, at a personal level, of earthbound and base level identification and consciousness, and that roots us in judgment, cosmic judgment, in our graves. And, we need to be awoken by the angel blowing the trumpet and come out of spiritual death. And then we encounter the 3 lights, which are the 3 symbols of the major religions of the world, but they represent ultimately the truth and whether we are going to reject it or accept it. See, the sun is the truth card. When I make my tarot deck, should I get enough time to dedicate my energy to that, and I will do it at some point, I'm simply going to call these cards what they are. This card's going to be natural law. This card's going to be self-mastery, right? The magician card's going to be self-mastery. The justice card's going to be called natural law. The sun card right here is going to be called truth. The moon card is going to be rejection of truth. The star card is going to be acceptance of truth, because that's what they represent. Now, either way, whichever path you go down, it's change, anchoring it. We have the free will decision of the soul to grow or stagnate. That proceeds through truth. Change is going to happen regardless of which path we take, the left hand or the right hand path. We take the left hand path, we reject truth, we end up as slaves to the devil card. Humanity being enslaved but with loose chains. We can change that path at any time by connecting with the heart chakra and, of course, accepting truth. And then if we do, we go to the angel. The temperance card, that's freedom. This is the freedom card. This is when we accept truth and we begin to truly act upon it. We are receiving protection and freedom. And these are the forces of the universe. And if we continue down that path of enslavement, ignorance leading to enslavement, that's extinction or death. That's the extinction or the involution card, which leads to extinction. Let me get this menu off of here, sorry. This is the involution force. Again, there's only really 2 forces operating in the universe, involution and evolution, or fear and love. Fear and love are how they're, actually expressed on a personal level. But at the universal level, this card represents the stagnation of evolution or involution. That's the entropy or death card. This dissolution into undifferentiated form. That's not how evolution proceeds. Evolution is a complexity forming process. that forms more complexity, more consciousness, more freedom, more possibility, more expression. That's the hangman card. That's the evolution card. That's crucified upon the tree of truth, an ultimate power to direct one's destiny. This is not a negative card. People look at this as somehow a negative card. No, it is not. That is the servant of justice. That is the servant of divine law. In service to natural law. We are bound to the truth. The hanged man is not suffering. The hanged man is acceptant of the laws that constrain. As far as natural law is concerned, they are not constraints put there to torture and or enslave. They are constraints or boundary conditions that are put there in the universe to maximize our evolutionary growth. Hence, the hanged man card is the evolution card. And of course, this is the natural law card, or God itself, the law. That's the ultimate form of love, the ultimate form of consciousness, the ultimate form of freedom, and ultimately the law itself. Love is the law. You know, that's the justice card. This is how this all connects into Thelema. Now, I'm offering the correction even of Crowley's mistake to follow the incorrect taking out of order of the 8 and 11 cards. Undo that. It's not correct. It's factually untrue. I'll just say that outright. Crowley was incorrect. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn members were incorrect who made that reversal. I'm going to stop short of saying that they were evil and trying to do it deliberately, because I do not believe that myself. But they were incorrect. This is the correct arrangement. So understand that. And Glenn, I hope I've clarified that for you by going through this exercise. If you want to hear me do that at length, I think I did an entire show on this, or a couple of them, back in earlier episodes of What on Earth is Happening. Just search on page in the podcast section for tarot, and you will find those podcasts. There's a very older one that's audio only, and I think I also redid this at a more extended way in a video podcast as well. So I think that's worth stepping out of the calls briefly to go through that exercise. Let me go ahead and go back to my presentation screen here, and let's go back to your calls. So Glenn, thank you for that comment that you made regarding that reversal in the Thoth deck. It's very astute that you made that observation, and it's very important that you understand the doing of that reversal, and I feel it's very important for people to understand how that reversal is incorrect, and I've just offered the correction for it and why. So when you begin to break down things in the realm of occult knowledge, you'll realize not everyone has it correct. That's why you need discernment. That's why you need to understand it from a foundational principle point of philosophy, from first principles first, right? Then you'll understand, oh, this person really deeply understands that. You'll be able to exercise discernment and judgment in that regard. And you'll even be able to say, I can offer a refinement of that. I don't think this person had as good of a handle on it as they believed that they did. You can't just take everything at its word, that anybody says, including myself. There are always betterments. There are always refinements to be found. So keep that in mind. No one is perfect. People are flawed. People make mistakes. And sometimes people do things to lead people astray in a vindictive way, and you have to watch out for that as well. I don't feel that this is an example of that, but you need discernment to understand possibly when that's happening too. So great observation, Glenn, and thank you for pointing that out to the viewing audience. So, let me clean up my screen here a little bit and go back to your calls. Let's hear from Jackie. Jackie, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome. Jackie, you are unmuted at the server end. Go ahead and unmute yourself, or adjust in your Discord settings your input source, because I am currently not hearing you. All right, it looks like you may be having some audio issues. I will let you try to correct that, and I will come back to you. Let's hear from Danny. Danny, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hi, Mark.
I'm
How
well.
are you?
Yourself?
I am doing great. Thank you. I am so excited to finally talk to you. I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the work that you've put out there. I discovered you in about 2015, I want to say. And I felt like finally somebody had put like the teachings to the things that I innately already knew. And
it's one of the most common compliments that I get is, Mark, I knew a lot of this and I studied a lot of it individually, but they say that my work helped them to form a tapestry and understand how it's all connected and put together. And that's the most common compliment that I get. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I've listened to all the podcasts in order multiple times.
Wow.
And I actually, on my YouTube channel, my very first live stream was a review of your documentary. And but back in 2016, I found it interesting. I had done a Facebook post asking people, do human beings have rights? And, you know, those questions that you had asked people out on the streets. In your class that you had done, your seminar. And my mom was the only person who answered all of those questions correctly, which I found
You're
interesting.
very fortunate to have a mom like that. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was literally like the one person that answered every single one correctly, with like no room for relativity when it comes to like morality and all of that. And I was just like, wow, like that would make sense, I guess, why I've always known these things to be true.
That's really awesome.
But yeah,
Danny's mom, congratulations. I'm really glad you you understood natural law to that level, and I'm glad that you are passing it along. So thank you to Danny's mom. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, me too. I'm thankful for her too. But I just wanted to say, like, I don't really have any questions or anything. You cover pretty much everything I could have ever asked. But I just wanted to tell you thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate everything that you put out there.
Danny, thank you so much. Thanks for the call. I really appreciate that. Keep pressing forward, and thanks for calling in today.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's hear from Joe. Joe, you're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome. Go ahead, Joe. It looks like you're unmuted. It's possible that you may be having some audio difficulty as well. All right, Joe, I'll put you on hold temporarily. I'll come back to you. Let's hear from Rod. Rod, you're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hey, Mark.
Yes, I can. Coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm a big fan. It's like the first time I'm actually speaking to you. I didn't even know I was going to get on here. It's pretty cool. But, yeah, I came across your work a couple of years ago. You were doing a seminar about the cremation of hair. And, that really hit home. I felt like you really did a great breakdown because some people just really need an understanding of, how crazy and, how psychopathic people could be.
People really don't have much of a frame of reference for how embedded the occult world is in all avenues of human life, especially all of the institutions of worldly power that operate here on Earth.
Right.
And that's one of the missing keys to people's understanding. The understanding of human life on this planet would probably very quickly fall into place if people have that frame of reference of the world of the occult, particularly the dark occult. Understanding that these are the people who are currently holding the reins of power of our world will help people to make sense of all the seeming disparate events that we can't quite make sense of, that create confusion, that we look at and go, oh, how could this happen? How could this be allowed to happen? When they understand occultists, dark occultists have the reins of power, it's going to click and it's going to make sense. It's going to be like you were looking under a microscope at a puzzle piece. Forget looking at even the whole puzzle piece. Like you had it under a microscope and you're looking at a speck of dust on it. And then it's going to be like you pulled back and you saw the entire puzzle and the whole picture. That's literally what it becomes like for people. We have to understand that there is the operation of covert religion. It's a term that I love using anymore in the modern day because it helps people to understand what's really happening behind the scenes. We have practitioners of covert religion. See, people are okay with thinking, oh, well, in the past and in the ancient world, in the old world, yeah, religion held a lot of sway in society. It really, really controlled people. And the priest class of the religious traditions were the ones who were really operating in power. They were the people who really, really held the reins of power. People are okay with that idea because they think that was then and this is now. And they think, oh, thank God that time period of human history is over. And crazy religionists aren't holding the reins of society anymore. See, this is how the average human thinks. But see, what they don't understand is that priest class never gave up its control. Do you think the purveyors of religion that are holding sway over people's minds, holding them in thrall, holding them in mind control, and they have all the resources of society, are just going to kick back and go, you know what? We were wrong. Our bad. We don't want to do this anymore. We're going to free everybody. We're going to let you not think of our religious tradition and just get rid of all that control over your mind, and we're not going to withhold, this knowledge from you about how things really work. And we want you to be free now. They're going to hold on and pass that knowledge of how to control people down to next generation and so on. What happened though? It stopped working because people stopped believing in some of the ridiculous ideas that were promulgated by religious traditions of the past, of the ancient world. Not all of them did, but I'd say the bulk of humanity said this is kind of a crock of nonsense, and a few people still religiously, pun intended, cling on to these old, outdated notions. But they said, we're going to lose our hold over these people. We're going to lose our control if we don't change the narrative. And we have to say, well, these old ways of doing things, that was the past. We're not really doing things like that anymore, but they in fact are. And now we have this new system that's participatory and anybody can come into it. And it's there for your benefit. And it's there because we care about what happens in society. And it's called government. And all it is, folks, is it's the new religion. And the new religion is the old religion. There's not really any difference except what they're telling you to believe. They were telling you to believe the priests are the intermediaries of God. What are they telling you to believe now? They're telling you to believe, well, government is the intermediary of what's right and wrong. And we're going to make the laws. But it's the same priest class operating behind the scenes. The deep, dark, occult priest class that sits enthroned behind the structures of power in the old world. It's their progeny sitting in the new structures of power behind the scenes. It's no different. Nothing changed except wording, except how people view the religion, but it's just a new religion that they gave to us, and it's them still in power, sitting enthroned behind the scenes and giving an external priest class to the masses. That was, instead of the inner occult priest class in the ancient world, they gave people a priest class that they could see, but they weren't the real purveyors of power. They were just order followers, just like we have today. And today we have politicians, we have bankers, we have people reading the news in the media And they're just outer order priests in this religion. They're the rank and file that'll get thrown under the bus if necessary to protect the real power structure and thrown behind the scenes. That's the inner order priest class, the what I refer to as the high-level dark occultists. So I think it's a very important point. I'll let you continue. I just wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah, for sure, and definitely. You know, that was amazing what you just said, and you know, completely true. And you know, I'm right at the point where, you know, I've done a lot of, you know, research on the occult. Ever since then, it really just made sense at that point. It's like, okay, it's not some just crazy theory. These people have a religion. They go by their religion, and you know, that's how it is. And you know, that's how you know they operate. And you know, some people don't want to believe that. It's kind of the point where I don't want to be like I want to call myself like a nihilist, but it kind of makes you lean towards that. But I understand what you're saying, how you can't be like that. You have to push forward and, you know, still try to, still try to get
don't
the word
take the
out,
black pill. The
know?
Black pill is a trap. The black pill is poison. Take the gold pill. The gold pill is the one you need to take to say, it may look hopeless, it may be a very depressing situation, but press forward in spite of that. And, you know, if for no other reason, just for spite toward these sick, psychopathic, you know, control freaks that want to control every aspect of our life. But I'd say do it for a higher reason even than that. Do it because it's simply right. That's it. You don't need to do it you don't need to do it for anybody. You don't even need to do it for yourself. Do it because it's the right thing to do. When you look at it from that perspective, that guides everything. That can be the guiding light and principle for any other action that you ever take in life. You don't have to do it because you say, I just want to press forward and I want to show these people my will is stronger than theirs. It doesn't even have to be that. Turn it over to something even higher than that and say, this is the Northern Star I'm going by. This is the right thing to do, and so I'm going to do it. The end. Then you'll see that you've stepped into the true will. That's where the true will lies.
Yeah. And I just had a quick question regarding just mystery
Sure.
schools.
Anything you want to ask, go right ahead.
I kind of like resonate with Hermetic.
Yes.
You know, with Hermetic. That's something that, you know, I'm really big into. I know you talk about Thelema. I'm learning Thelema through you, and I actually just started looking into Alex Shapali when I was younger. I heard of him, but of course, you know, as a child, I was just, you know, I didn't want to look into black magic. You know, that's what I thought it was.
A lot of people
just because the name around.
A lot of people make that mistake and get confused. And this is what a lot of the dark occult want people to think. And don't get me wrong. Once again, I don't look at Crowley as some white light magician, white light guru. Definitely not. Definitely not. And I don't glorify him as a being. What I do have is respect for the work that he published, right, and put out. And that work can act as a transformative tool if we perceive it in such a way that we use it as a tool to guide our education and knowledge regarding some of the things that he talked about in Thelema, like these universal forces and interpersonal and transpersonal forces. This is what getting in touch with the true will is all about. That's what the Aeon of Horus is all about. It's what the concepts of Thelema as true will and the concept of agape as true love is all about. But again, don't fall into the trap of just listening to what other people say about it. You shouldn't even listen to what I say about it, right? Well, you should take it into consideration, but don't just say, I accept that because Passio said that. Bad idea. Go look into it for yourself. Then you'll see whether I'm right. If you study it deeply enough and it has that powerful transformation upon your growth and your journey and your development, then you're going to go back and say, whoa, why didn't I look into this earlier? You know, this is powerful stuff. It is transformative stuff. And that's all I'm asking people to do. Just look into it with a discerning mind. Don't go into it like a cult member where you're going to say, I accept everything that's being said here. That's a bad idea. Go into it, neither accepting it nor rejecting it, and see what's there first. Then make an informed judgment.
Right. Using like the key.
That's right. Always.
Right. Using the key discernment. And I just wanted, I got into, Hermetic, reading, for example, Franz Bardon, one of his books, and
sure.
I'm into it. Initiation to Hermetics, and that's a good book. And I came across. I remember I came across the Ark at one time, and I was definitely looking to purchase the Ark. Well, not purchase, but
yes.
Getting the Ark. And I saw Rudolf Steiner on there. I'm a big fan
great
of
stuff.
Steiner and Passio. I just wanted to say, what do you think about Passio? Because I haven't heard much of it from you. I just wanted to get.
I definitely like the way he looked at the evolution of the soul, and
Mm-hmm.
the work that he put forward into Rosicrucianism is probably some of the best out there, especially as he talks about the forces of Luciferic forces, Ahrimanic forces, the middle path of the sort of blending between those, or neither even falling into influence between those is a more accurate way of saying it. And this is the way he went about teaching his aspect of the Rosicrucian tradition. I think when I delve into Rosicrucianism, it's probably going to have to be a couple of weeks. If I could do it in one, I'll do it, but I think two of the teachers that have to be looked at when you study it is, of course, Rudolf Steiner, and then my personal favorite Rosicrucian philosopher was Max Heindel. And, his Rosicrucian cosmo-conception dovetails perfectly with Steiner, his views in anthroposophy and Rosicrucianism in general, and his views of the ways that the soul progresses in its journey. So the Rosicrucian cosmo conception has a lot of that in it as well. Yeah, by Heindel. Heindel, yes, Heindel. I think it might be two L's. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely.
Yeah, Rosicrucian Cosmo Conception. It's one of the books that I'll highlight when I talk about Rosicrucianism. Again, I have to get into that as a topic. I have to get into the Theosophy as a topic. We definitely have to look into some of the works of Rudolf Steiner and Max Heindel and Helena Blavatsky, etc. So this is going to be some things that are going to come up on future shows before the end of this season of What on Earth is Happening, no doubt.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. I'm I'm trying to put the work out there. I have a YouTube channel. I just, started. All I do right now is just, what I've been doing is, reading books and giving my interpretation on them and just discussing the occult on my page. And I just feel like, eventually I'll get to start to doing the natural law. Teaching natural law as well.
That's what it's all ultimately about. Every one of these traditions ultimately is about really deeply getting people to an understanding of universal law, moral law, human rights, how to respect that, sovereignty. Every single occult tradition in basically human history, that has been the inner, long-term, esoteric goal. That is the ultimate goal that they are trying to put forward, their original intent. Whether they succeeded at that or fell from that path, remains to be seen. It's up to what we're going to do with that knowledge that was put out by those initiates and adepts, and whether we develop what I feel we ultimately need, and that is a true occult revival. But not from a perspective of just taking it and hold it tightly to our chest, from a perspective of we need to de-occult all of it. Make it common sense. When we make it common sense and put it out there for others through teaching natural law, that's when we're going to see human evolutionary development absolutely take off. And that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to bring about. So I want to thank you so much for your call. Really great points that you brought up there. And thanks for calling in.
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure to finally speak with you, man. I enjoyed the conversation. I enjoy all your shows.
You got it, Rod. Stay on the path and eventually get into teaching natural law yourself. That's what it is all about, brother. So thank you.
All right, thank you, brother.
You got it. Fantastic calls to everyone who called in. Can't overemphasize that enough. I think it's a great show, a great way to round out what we have been talking about here over the last month at What on Earth is Happening. So we'll leave it with a quote from Crowley. The absolute rule of the state shall be a function of the absolute liberty of each individual will. That's how we'll go about not only entering the Aeon of Horus, but creating it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. That concludes our entire section on Thelema. We'll be getting into some other topics next week. So remember, government is slavery. Thank you for watching. We'll see you right here next week.